Hi, Professor Corbett. Before I get into this, I'm just gonna tell you what I'm gonna talk about. I didn't really choose a specific topic. Instead, I just kind of want to go over some key things that I'll take with me that I learned in your class. Just a few of them, that is. But I'll get right into it. So when I started with your in your class, I know for a fact that I thought I was a really good negotiator, and I can honestly say now that looking back, I had no idea, and you could honestly say I was unconsciously incompetent in terms of negotiating. But yeah, so when I started, I was a little bit of an aggressive negotiator. Um, when someone would fabricate something or say something, uh, that I didn't agree with, I immediately stopped listening and started focusing on the soonest point that I could start talking over them, and the soonest point that I could get my rebuttal for that very point out, which is not what's not that's not what's supposed to happen in a cooperative agreement. You're supposed to hear the other person all the way through, and then make decisions based upon that. But yeah, this is kind of like the first negotiation we had in the whole entire class, where Bowie was the student asking me, the teacher, for an extension. When he would start making up the story, and I knew he was making it up, kind of thing, I would very selectively start to listen to him, and I would be more inclined to keep to my objective standards, and that was I could not give him the extension because it would compromise my integrity as a teacher. Whereas if I'd just been able to look past him fabricating things as a person, and seeing the true benefits that he was telling me about, like the networking benefits he got from missing this assignment and going to the Jays game, then maybe my decision would have been different. And in fact, you helped me. You came up to me in Bowie and you helped me on that day, and that's where I learned that. My big thing was about getting my fair share, and it wasn't only about them. So in other words, I was really focused on kind of my position and the other person's position, not our actual interests, and in terms of the whole situation and what we could make for both of each other uh, out of this scenario. Um, I guess something that resonates with me is, I did grow up with a couple brothers, and we're all similar in age, and we do tend to fight a lot. While I thought my negotiating was good, it just turns out I'm kind of an aggressive bully type negotiator coming into this class, being an older brother of two twins. But yeah, so sometimes when I was negotiating, that assertiveness, or what I thought was just assertiveness, was really just aggressiveness. That aggressiveness would transpire, into emotion, instead of me, cooperatively focusing on the issue with the other person, um, and the best way to solve that issue, or split slash grow the pie, as you say. I was really only focusing on the results of my side, which is something that I've learned not to do now, as progressing through your classes. All this time I was completely and utterly, consciously competent of this. I really think, my lack of sympathy after trying to be, swindled by somebody, for example, Bowie, for an extension in that first mock negotiation in the class. Um, that definitely stems from growing up with my brothers. I personally like straightforwardness. I like transparency. I like thinking that I know all the factors, and not that I'm being, you know something's being flown over my head by the other negotiating party. I don't like that. But yeah, instead of inventing options for mutual growth, I kind of started off in this course, that suggesting options that catered minimally to my counterpart's desires. Um, Now, in terms of the book Getting to Yes, a few things in that book I'll definitely take with me. In particular, relating to the issue I just talked about, separating the people from the problem. Um, like I said before, my emotions kind of tended to overshadow my negotiating judgment. And because of that, I was unable to make good proposals that were completely consistent with my counterpart's values, that were only consistent with mine. And that's something that's counterproductive in general for any negotiating party. I just want to give a little example with regards to even this journal in specifics. I even learned something from this, but For example, I was late handing in this journal, and I actually shot you an email shortly after I found out that it was due Friday, not this Monday. And when I sent you that email, I tried my best not to let the emotion of having a late assignment in a class I really want to do really well in. I tried to not let that shade what I was going to say to you, um, and shade my view of things, so that things I said to you in the email weren't tainted at all. But I was able to communicate my side of things, I thought, while still mentioning that I understood your values and your integrity as a teacher, in terms of granting extensions and whatnot. But yeah, something about negotiating in a cooperative fashion is what I've learned uh, in this class, and it really resonates with me personally, and the whole concept of IOUs. IOUs is something that I've been keen on for a while, even coming into this course. But now, from a negotiating standpoint, I'm able to understand how IOUs work. Um, Almost all negotiations, just like an IOU, are a give and get scenario. You get what you give. Sorry, a get and give scenario. Um, if you want to try and decide to line a negotiation to better your odds, or better your BATNA, there's a good chance the other side will do that too. And like I said, the negotiation after that just starts to become counterproductive. IOUs work in both positive and negative fashions. In my eyes, it's an eye for an eye or a hand for a hand type deal. Um, some of my most cooperative negotiations, I had very cooperative counterparts, and some of my worst negotiations, I had very uncooperative counterparts, and that's not including me probably being, uncooperative as well. But um, yeah, one last thing I want to talk about is, you know, how almost all negotiating parties, and this is what I've learned in this class for sure. Almost all negotiating parties have cards in their back pockets, that I, as a negotiator for one side, can not forget to. I cannot overlook them, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. These are the things. These cards in the back pocket. They're what makes a strong BATNA, and a strong BATNA is what wins a negotiation, which is what I've learned. Um, when I was fresh in this class, the first couple negotiations, I tended to let my emotions overshadow my view of my BATNA and my opponent's BATNA as well. Um, for example, in almost every negotiation, until I fully learned about BATNA, it took me a while as well, trust me, but until I fully learned about the concept, I just really took factors from the general instructions of the negotiations, and factors from my confidential instructions, with little to no consideration for the fact that my counterparts had their own confidential instructions as well. Um, Things I should have kept in mind when proposing solutions for the parties. But along with these things, there's many other things I'll take with me from this class. Um, this class is kind of like, to me, it's a real life concept. It's something that can be an asset to you in real life, which is why I sincerely enjoyed taking this class. Um, yeah, I hope to be in your 4V class in September. Have a nice summer, Miss Corbett. Bye.